Hello, boys and girls. So, today for our lesson, we are going to be talking about comparing and contrasting two different texts. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about two different texts that we have, and I'm going to talk about things that are the same, and I'm going to talk about things that are different. So, the first book we are going to talk about is Curious George Takes a Job, and then we are going to compare and contrast that with The Fire Cat, what we've read so far, and then after we compare and contrast those, I will read the final chapter of The Fire Cat for you. So in Curious George Takes a Job, Curious George is an animal that has a job. Is that the same in The Fire Cat? I think yes. So those are things that are the same. Also, in Curious George Takes a Job, he gets into some trouble. Does the same thing happen in the beginning of The Fire Cat? Yes. So we can say those are the same as well. We're comparing them right now. Let's look at a couple of things that might be different. In Curious George Takes a Job, Curious George is a monkey, right? And in The Fire Cat, Pickles is a cat. So those are some things that are different. Curious George had several different jobs, including a window washer, and he also worked in the kitchen. And The Fire Cat, Pickles is a fire cat. So those are things that are different. So what I would like you to do when you're reading later, I want you to compare and contrast some books, find things that are the same in your books, find things that are different. I chose these two books because we are reading The Fire Cat right now, and I wanted to continue with that. And I chose Curious George to compare and contrast because I knew there were some things that were the same, and I knew there were some things that were different. So make sure you find some things that are the same in your books. Sometimes you're going to have to look a little hard, and same thing with finding differences. Maybe you're reading two different Curious George books. You'll still be able to find differences even though it's the same character. So make sure you're looking hard. Next, we are going to finish reading The Fire Cat. So the last chapter is called The Old Tree. Pickles made friends with all the firemen, but he did not make friends with any cats. When cats came to the firehouse to look at the trucks, Pickles chased them away. The chief called Pickles to him and said, "A fire cat must be kind to everyone. You must be good to other cats." And this seems to be a common theme with Pickles. He doesn't seem to like cats too much. Little by little, Pickles learned to be good to the cats he met. He made friends with them too. Then all the cats loved to come to the firehouse. On rainy days, most cats stayed at home, and Pickles sat upstairs with the firemen. One rainy day, as he sat there, he thought to himself, "How bad I was when I chased the other cats. Once I chased a little cat up a tree. Oh me, oh my, why did I do that?" Suddenly, Pickles heard the chief call out, "Cat in a tree." So I'm going to make a prediction here and say that Pickles is going to help save the cat from the tree. Fireman Joe and the other two men slid down the pole. Pickles slid down after them. He heard the chief say, "The tree is in the old yard next to Mrs. Goodkind's house." "Oh," thought Pickles, "that's the yard where I lived, and that's the tree." Pickles jumped up on the truck with the three firemen. So he's familiar with this. He knows the tree, he knows the people, he knows the place. Maybe he'll know the cat. Away they rode to the yard, and there, in the wind and the rain, stood Mrs. Goodkind pointing to a very little cat. The firemen put a ladder against the tree. The ladder scared the little cat, and she ran to a high branch where a fireman could not go. Joe said to Mrs. Goodkind, "I don't know what to do," but Pickles knew. He began to climb the ladder. Pickles climbed up and up and up. It was hard work, but at last he came to the top of the ladder. Then he climbed up the tree until he came to the little cat. "Come, cat," he said to her, "let me help you." He picked her up and took her gently down to Mrs. Goodkind. So my prediction came true. Mrs. Goodkind thanked Pickles. Then she said to him, "I always knew that someday You would do big things. Today, you have done something very big. Pickles waved a paw at her, as if to say, Mrs. Goodkind, this is the only a beginning. And he rode home to the firehouse, a proud and happy cat. So not only is he proud, and then there's a fire hat at the end too. Not only is Pickles a proud cat, he's very happy too. He's changed so much since chasing cats around and not being very nice to them. Now Pickles is helping out the firefighters and helping out cats. So he's being nice to people, cats, everyone, which is pretty incredible. So that's the end of the Fire Cat. When you are reading today, remember to compare and contrast your stories. Say what things are the same, say what things are different about them, and sometimes it's going to be pretty difficult to figure out what things are the same and what things are different. Sometimes they'll be very, very similar and it'll be hard to find differences, and sometimes they'll be very, very different and it'll be hard to find similarities, but if you look hard enough, you will be able to find them. Also, always make predictions, write things down on post-it notes, jot things down that are important in the story. If something or someone has an emotion, you can write down why they're feeling that way. Anything that you may see that you notice and you think is important, always write those things down or keep them in the back of your head. All right. Have a great day, everybody.